from the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Outdoor Oklahoma.
Well, hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead, and today I'm joined by my friend Jeff Dodd, who is the Assistant Hatchery Manager down here at Manning Hatchery. Thanks for joining me, Jeff.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I love the springtime. It's definitely in my top 2 seasons of the year because it's the onset of fishing season.
Right, and the fishing's going to get better every day from here forward.
You bet. It's going to be great. And a few years ago, I discovered tube fishing, and that just opened up a whole new world for me. I love it.
Yeah, I really enjoy getting out in my tube. You get some exercise that way. You can also get to some locations on a pond or watershed that you're not normally available to you, especially early in the spring before the vegetation comes on.
There you go. Now, I understand that you actually do a fair amount of fly fishing nowadays too, right?
I do. I like to fly fish, and I usually fish out of my tube. And here where I live, close to home opportunity for me is out here at the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge.
There's about, what is it, about 11 lakes that are open to the public.
I think there's about 11 bodies of water that are open to the public to fish.
Well, that's great. And I think we're going to hopefully talk you into showing us one of your specialty flies that you tie for fishing around here later, right?
Be glad to.
Okay. Now, we caught up with you last spring, and our crews followed you on a little fishing trip here locally. Tell me about that.
We went with Discover Oklahoma's Ron Stahl and fished Rush Lake up here at the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge. One thing I get excited about this time of year is usually I can go up there with my fly rod and catch some crappie as well.
Really, some crappie and bluegill.
But on that particular trip, we were just catching bluegill and red ear.
Well, it looked like a fun trip.
It was. We had a real good time with it.
Ready?
Yeah, whatever.
Take off.
Well, we're going to try to go out today, and we're here at Rush Lake in the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge. We're going to try to catch some sunfish, probably some bluegill and red ear. We might even catch some bass.
Hey, I'm in on that. All of that.
Well, the sunfish are starting to bed up, and I think we'll have some luck today.
Well, let's get it. Now, first challenge, getting in the water. I know it looks funny, but they work good. This is where I usually fall backwards. Are you keeping?
No, I probably won't keep today, but we'll see what we catch first.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I might actually catch something. A successful entry. That's always my biggest goal. I love to tube fish.
We're fortunate in this area. I think the refuge is approximately 57,000 acres, and about 2/3 of it's public use. So, you know, we're really fortunate to have this to use. You know, you can camp and fish, and I've got a designated camping area at Camp Doris.
Absolutely.
And then they also have the controlled elk hunts and a deer hunt.
Well, this is a great area. It's one of the, you know, when we in tourism talk to people about where they like to go, this is right up there. Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge is one of the favorite places. And honestly, when I lived down in Texas, I used to come up here.
Yeah.
Used to camp and climb the boulders over at Mount Scott, which was kind of dumb now that I think about it.
I used to do a lot of hiking, but the mind's still willing, but the body's not as willing as it once was.
We're all having that problem. I guess that one was the only one that's going to hit me over here.
You know, Jeff, that day on Rush Lake looked pretty fun, and Ron does a fair amount of
Ron's
fishing.
a pretty savvy fisherman himself. He really did pretty well. We started out a little slow, but the fishing picked up. We kind of found some beds where the fish were, and we were catching 2 at a time there.
Well, I'm back with Jeff at the Manning Hatchery, and Jeff, you can buy your own flies, but that's not near as fun as tying your own, I bet.
But I get a lot of enjoyment out of tying my own. It's a lot of satisfaction out of it. And plus, in the winter months when there's really the fishing slows down, it gives me something to do.
Sure. Now, there are a few essential pieces of equipment that you're going to need to have. What are those?
Basically, you're going to need some sort of vise to hold your hook, and then you're going to need some good sharp scissors, pretty fine pointed type scissors
Okay.
that you can cut your thread with,
Okay.
and you'll need some glue or cement, which you can purchase.
I can tell right off that I like the size of that hook than some of the dry flies you use for trout. I can at least see that.
This is a size 6 hook.
Now, that hook that you've got in the vise has a bead on it, but your hook doesn't come with that.
No, instead of adding a slip shot on your leader, I usually just tie a bead head so that pattern will go ahead and sink,
Okay.
and
All right.
you know, have pretty good luck that way. Well, we've wrapped the shank of our hook with thread, and then we've taken some of this marabou, which is turkey feathers, and when it gets in the water, it's going to have movement. And then all we're going to do is we're going to wrap that in really good,
Yeah. Okay.
and I'm just going to lock my thread in, tie a half hitch in there,
Uh-huh.
and then we're going to take some material called chenille, which is actually that comes in all kinds of colors.
Right.
And this is olive. We're going to tie that chenille in. That's going to be our body material. Basically, all you're doing is wrapping your materials to the shank of your hook.
Uh-huh.
So basically, I've just tied my chenille in, and I'm going to take this. This is a saddle hackle off a rooster's neck. I'll reach up there and catch that tip.
Uh-huh.
Tie that in, lock it in. That way my thread doesn't move on me.
Uh-huh. I see.
Then we're just going to wind this body material on our fly. And I'm just going to take these little scissors, I'm going to clip that chenille.
Yep.
I'm going to wrap this down really good. Now this is going to be our legs of our fly.
Yeah.
We're going to do that the same way. We're just counter wrapping those in place. We just wrap that in, and we take this tag end of our, trim that out of the way.
Well, that's interesting.
That's
There's
pretty
your
much
woolly
a
booger, huh?
finished fly, yes.
Great. We'll be back more with Jeff and tying flies and out on Rush Lake right after this week's Outdoor News Report.
else in the world can you fish and have buffalo come down and drink at the lake? That's amazing. Huh. Does the wildlife refuge have any kind of fishing limits on these lakes?
Well,
number of fish?
These lakes are under state limit. Elmer Thomas being the exception, and it's a slot limit on bass.
There've been some awful big bass come out of Elmer Thomas.
Yeah, and Elmer Thomas also has smallmouth, so it's another
really?
opportunity to, you know, fish for a different species. Letonka and Elmer Thomas both have smallmouth.
Love smallmouth. This is a great place for families even without the fishing.
Well, you can come out and hike and you can picnic. You know, you have a lot of opportunity to view wildlife. I mean, buffalo, elk, deer, longhorn.
Tourism department do surveys and ask people about their favorite places in Oklahoma, and we're talking about Oklahomans generally. This area right here is right up at the top.
Yeah.
People love the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge, this area in general. So, oh, look at there.
There you go.
You know, usually when the camera's on, I don't catch fish. I don't know what it is today. A double.
Just a little female red ear here.
Tell the difference between the female and the male.
I'll just
Well, I was going to have you show me.
just see so many of them.
She just released herself.
Usually those males will be a little brighter and bigger. And
Yeah, I think that was a male I caught over there a while ago. That had to be a female. There you go. Here, jump the wall. Red ear.
I pretty much just fly fish anymore, but you could take a ultralight and, you know, use a casting bobber and fly fish, or you could use worms or crickets, or pretty nice red ear there. It's a good time of year. School about to be over, and you know, kids getting out of school, it's a good time. I've got a daughter that's 13, and you can take your kids this time of year, and those bluegill cooperate in red ear.
Oh yeah.
Gives them a good opportunity to, instead of, you know, being real patient, they can catch some fish and have some fun.
Well, it's always great to people make a mistake sometimes, I think, by wanting to take their kids bass fishing right
Yeah.
off the bat, 5 years old. This is ridiculous. Look at this. And you know, they're hard to catch, and you get some of these fish, and they're easy to catch. Great way to start a kid. Oh, look at here. No, maybe I'm hung.
Gravelly looking, you can kind of tell the bottom's clear. I think they're starting to bed up. And, whoops. This fish here,
Well, there's some beautiful fish. I mean, this time of year,
they
look
really
at the
are.
colors
There's some
on
pretty
them.
fish, but gently squeeze them and they're starting to flow, you know. So they're getting ready to spawn.
What are we fishing with? Let's tell everybody what we're fishing with.
Well, we're fly fishing today, and we're fishing some woolly buggers with and some nymphs, some little bead-headed flies that sink, and we're just kind of pitching them out there and a slow retrieve, just kind of letting them sink down. Those fish just come up there and grab them. But a little later on, we'll be able to catch some fish, I think, on some poppers, be able to fish topwater. And
Which is my favorite. Oh, look
I
at
think we've kind of found them right here.
that. One of us has. Okay, while he's doing that, okay. So I'm in the spot now, let's see.
And the thing about these sunfish, they're so prolific. You know, if you want to keep a mess of them, you know, today, you know, catch and release is a lot more popular, but you're not going to hurt keeping some of these fish in food. And they're good eating, so.
I think I'm about ready to catch a big old giant cheeseburger.
Well, we've had a good day today. We've caught some fish. We've had a good time and enjoyed having you.
Oh,
It is past lunchtime.
It's great. This is fabulous. I'd rather fish than eat anyway.
Well, I probably need to fish more and eat less anyway.
Well, I hope everybody out there enjoyed it as much as we did.
Well, if we can get out of here without falling down now.
Okay, turn off the cameras. We're going to fall down.
Well, there's about 3 or 4 rocks right there.
Yeah,
that are
there's.
tricky.
I'm looking at this one.
You'd go to, I think the slickest rocks in the world is on the Mountain Fork River.
Oh. Yep.
You know, Jeff, you guys looked like a great time on
Well, we had a
Rush
great
Lake.
time with Ron that day. Really did. We had a good time. The weather was beautiful, and the fish finally cooperated with us,
Right.
and really enjoyed ourselves.
Well, you know, there's so many things to do in this part of the state, especially on the Refuge. You can take your family down there and spend the day or the weekend and do a lot of different things besides just fish.
You know, there's a campground, Camp Dorse. You can actually, you know, take your family out, tent camp, or you know, you can have a small RV in there, and you can bird watch, hike, view wildlife, you know, photography.
You bet. Lots of different opportunities on the Refuge. And I think when it comes to fishing, and especially small bodies of water, many Oklahomans overlook western Oklahoma, and especially the southwest part of the state is a great place for float tube fishing opportunities.
It really is. I typically try to stay on a smaller body of water where the wind, you know, doesn't blow you across a 1,000-acre lake.
Right,
And,
right.
You know, if you can go somewhere like our department lakes or no wake lakes, so your safety aspect there, which I always try to tube with someone, not by myself.
Sure.
for
What
that
are
reason.
some of those department lakes in this region?
There's Lake Birchie up towards Chickasha, Lake Hall out by Hollis, and then there's Lake Vanderwerk by Mountain View.
That's great. Well, there's lots of opportunities to get out, and you think I might be able to sneak along next time with you?
You bet. You're more than welcome to go with us.
Thanks for joining me, Jeff. And for all of us at the Wildlife Department, I'm Todd Craighead saying thanks for joining us today. We'll see you somewhere new next time on Outdoor Oklahoma.